Hey everyone! In my last tutorial I experimented with a simple dash mechanic for the character in Construct 3. So we have little Blocky and he can dash left or right with a 2-second cooldown. I thought it would be interesting to see how to accomplish the same thing in Godot. So let's get straight to it. Here we are in Godot and this is the finished product. So what we can see is we've got Blocky, he can go left and right and he can jump. We've got a little obstacle, Godot the robot, in the middle here. So we want to be able to dash across and that's how it happens. So there are two little changes we can make to improve the dash, which I'll show you in the code, but in essence it's pretty much the same as what we have in Construct, and there's a cooldown as well. I've made it 1 second in Godot, it just felt a little better to me, but I'll go through the code now and you can have a look at how it works. So if we go to the script for the player, we have our standard player setup, which is a kinematic body, an animated sprite with the different animations, and a collision shape. Then we have a few of the environmental factors. We have a gravity, a walk speed, and a jump force. I've set these all to the exact same values that I had in Construct. We then need a velocity, a vector for our speed and direction. We get the screen size just so we can clamp the player into the screen boundary. We decide if the player can dash or is currently dashing, and we also can get the dash direction. And I just added in this little extra variable here to help me know which direction the player was facing, but you really don't need it because you can use the dash direction. Then we get the screen dimensions so that we can use those to make sure the player can't leave the layout. This is our actual dash function, which I'll come back to in a second. And then here's our main game loop, the physics process. This is where we clamp the player to the screen on the X. So we're clamping the X position to just in front of the left edge and to the right edge. Here's where we set our gravity. So our Y velocity is always pulling down by that gravity constant we set at the top. These are our animations, so if the X velocity is less than 20, then we play idle. You could also set this to 0, so I just start idling early because we've got this this lerping that happens at the bottom, which just smooths the stop. You can make, if you set the velocity X to 0, then the player won't stop gradually after moving. He just comes to an absolute stop. So if we're doing the gradual stop, I make sure that the X is around about less than 20. Then we start playing the idle animation. If you're pressing left, then we play the left animation, and your X velocity changes by your walk speed in the X direction, which is negative. And you can set the dash direction here, which is just setting the X vector to -1, so you're facing left, and then I just use my little helper variable there to tell me that I'm facing left. Otherwise, if you're pressing right, you set the animation to right, your X increases by walk speed, and your dash direction is now 1, not -1, and so you're facing right. Otherwise, you start coming to a stop, and we here use linear interpolation to stop the player gradually, so decreasing the value by 0.1. If you want to come to an immediate stop, you just set your velocity on X to 0. And then here's our little jump. If you're pressing the up arrow and you're on the floor, then your Y velocity goes in the negative direction, because remember, negative is up in Godot, so it increases by negative jump force, and that's your jump strength or your jump height. Then to do the dash, we must call our little dash function, which we're going to investigate now. The actual movement is taken care of by Godot's built-in move and slide. we move at a certain velocity, and we must make sure that our vector2.up is set so that the move and slide method knows which direction to make us jump. So let's go and have a look at this dash function and see how the dashing works. So we've got function dash. If input.isAction just pressed dash, so if you've just pressed your dash key and you can dash, which means you're not currently dashing, then if you're facing the right, we set the dash animation to the right dash. If you're facing the left, we set your dash animation to the left dash. This is your dash speed. So if you increase this number, you will dash further and faster. Obviously, if you are currently dashing, then you can't dash again. It's false. Dashing becomes true because you are busy dashing. And then this is just an inline timer which we set. So this is the timer which tells you how long you have before you can dash again. So this timer is set to a second, and so this timer counts down for 1 second. Once this timer times out, dashing then stops, and your ability to dash again becomes true. Well, that's all it does really. It's fairly simple. I hope it helps someone out there. If you have improvements or better ways to do it, please feel free to add them in the comments. But thanks for listening, and I'll see you again next time.
Game Dev Journey.